night Apple held their Back to the Mac event, which was Wednesday the 20th of October. It happened for us here in the UK at 6 PM. Now, I know this is quite late in the day to be getting this video out, but unfortunately I had a bit of a crisis here this morning with the kids, and that needed to be seen to. However, I know you guys are going to be inundated with a lot of information coming out about this event, whether it's videos on YouTube or articles being sent through in your RSS feeds. But I just want to give my view of how the event went, what type of things were brought out, and all the rest of it. Now, as I predicted, a lot of people are unhappy with the event. Some people are over the moon with it, and then there's some people are kind of like in the middle, didn't really think that much of it. So let's get started straight away on the first thing that was brought in, which was the iLife suite. They did discuss some figures, facts and figures, but we already know about those. We know how well Apple are doing. Steve Jobs stood up, he introduced the iLife 11, and then iPhoto was then demonstrated by Phil Schiller. That was the first thing on the agenda. Now, iPhoto didn't really have an awful lot of new features, but it did have some good ones. With Faces and Places, you're going to get a full screen mode on that. It did look really nice. They've also brought in a thing like where, you know, the photo books, you're going to be able to create your photo books. It's really like a carousel type of thing. In terms of the graphical user interface type, for that, it looks really good. And it'll be set out, you'll be able to set out your photo books on type of like an iBook store format. Now, one of the features of iPhoto that really stood out for me was the fact that when you're in iPhoto and you select the photograph, you can send that photo straight from the application in an email. So you don't have to like copy it and bring it across the mail, paste it in, and then send it that way. You can just send it straight out of iPhoto, which was a really neat feature. Like I say, there wasn't too much about iPhoto, but don't forget, guys, this event they had to talk about Lion, MacBook Air, and the iLife suite. Three big things in quite a short space of time. I'm sure when you guys get hold of the iLife suite, if you're going to, you will discover many more different features within iPhoto. iMovie was the next thing up, and it was quite easy to tell that they had spent a lot more time on iMovie, which is not surprising given that how successful YouTube is and how many of us now make videos on YouTube. Anyway, some of the features on there, they focused a lot on auto editing, which is going to be great for you guys that are big into effects on videos, that type of thing. So things like voice distortion, you know, like from the helium balloon and the demon type thing. Movie trailers was another thing that they've brought into iMovie. It looked really, really good. It's going to add a lot of fun to your videos and sometimes put a lot of professionalism into them as well. They brought out 15 new themes as well. According to Apple, they went across the Pinewood Studios, which is in London. They say it's just outside London in Surrey, and they brought the London Philharmonic Orchestra to make the music up for it, that type of thing. So a lot of time and effort has been spent on iMovie. And like I say, there was another thing as well, one-stop effects. Now I don't really understand that. I'm not a video editor, but what they done was they showed you like a trailer of these boys jumping over in BMXs, that type of thing. And then they stopped it and they were able to put that on a loop and change certain effects within it. Looked really good. The next thing then that they went on to in the iLife suite was GarageBand. Now, I'm not going to say nothing about the GarageBand because I've never used GarageBand. I've never had any interest in using it. I probably couldn't use it either. I'm not creative enough to use it. So if you want to know more about GarageBand, I'm afraid you're going to have to go across to the Apple website and see for yourself if that's what you're into. It is something that I'm going to have to get into because my son Jude, who is 8, he loves GarageBand. For some reason, I don't know what got him into it, but he loves it. He goes on the iMac or the MacBook Air and he sits and he plays with it all day. Creates all sorts of sounds and what have you. So, and that was pretty much it, guys, for the iLife suite. Right, so the next thing that was talked about was the operating system, Lion. Now, Steve Jobs, he explained this in kind of like a flowchart. Obviously, Apple started out with the desktop environment for the iMac and the MacBooks, that type of thing. Then they moved away from that and went into the iPhone and the iPad and the mobile operating system. And what they're trying to do now is they're trying to take what they've learned from both operating systems and combine the best features from both, and which is now going to give us Lion. Now, some of the features that they've brought up now for Lion is an app store for the Mac, so it's called Mac App Store. They demonstrated that last night as well, where they bought Pages, the full working version of Pages, in exactly the same way that you would buy an app now for the iPad or the iPhone. So very, very simple, very, very quick, and you have a full working version of the software there on your desktop. Now that's going to be a good thing. Then they went on and they talked about a thing called Launchpad and Folders. Now you know the way whenever you turn on your iPad or your iPhone, your applications are there on the desktop or on your screen, and you flick them sideways, and you've got down at the bottom your little dots which indicate how many pages of applications you have. Well, that is what's being brought to the Mac now. So you're going to have, in order to access your applications, you'll have this Launchpad. Your applications will come up on the screen. The dots down below will indicate how many pages of apps you have, and obviously when you find the app that you have, you click it. To simplify things, then you have the folders, as we do with the iPhone and the iPad, where you can drag and say like all your games and put them into one folder. That's obviously going to be on the Mac now as well, so it makes things easier so you're not skimming through all these different pages. Next up then they had was a thing called Mission Control. Now Mission Control is a mixture of Spaces and Expose, and the graphical user interface that they showed for that looks very, very slick, very, very nice. You know the way when you're on the iPad or the iPhone, you have this like grey textured background sometimes when you're looking at your folders. That's where when you have this Mission Control and your different screens come up, they're going to be on like this grey background, so it looks very nice, and obviously it's going to be incredibly productive for you in terms of your workflow. They've obviously they have also now got FaceTime for the Mac, which is actually available now for download in the beta version. I've tried that out this morning. It works very, very well, and obviously it's only in its infancy, so there's going to be a few problems, and maybe even the appearance of it is probably going to be changed as well, because the appearance of it I think could be a little bit better than what it is at the minute. But it is only in beta version, and no doubt things will change. Now, the negative comments that I heard about this whole concept between Lion last night were that people are frightened that they're going to that Apple are going to go too far into this App Store method of doing things, which will in turn dumb down programmers, the level of programmers that we have at this current time and moment. Let's face it, from their perspective, what they were saying is, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to design an application for the iPhone or the iPad, and so therefore, is it going to be the same type of thing for the desktop now? So all our programmers, our Unix programmers and stuff like that, are they now all going to be dumbing down into this type of format? So that's something that you guys need to ask yourself. I don't really know the answer to that question. Is simplifying life a good thing or a bad thing? I don't really know. I need to look more into that comment and try and work out what they're trying to establish by it. So that was pretty much Lion. Don't forget guys, Lion isn't due out until summer of 2011, so there's still a long way to go with the operating system. This was just a taster last night of the operating system. Next up was the MacBook Air. Now I'm a MacBook Air owner. I love my MacBook Air. It goes everywhere with me, as does the iPad. I must admit, the iPad has pretty much taken over from the MacBook Air at the minute for me, but it still comes everywhere with me. Now, as the rumours suggested, there is an 11.6 inch model. It hasn't replaced the 13 inch model either. There's two 11.6 inch models and there's two 13 inch models. They all have this new flash hard drive. The 11 inch models come in a 64 gig and 128 gig, and the 13 inch models come with 128 gig and 256. Now the price range of the MacBook Air 11.6 starts at £849 for the 64 gig and £999 for the 128 gig here in the UK. The 13 inch models, they start at £1,099 for the 128 gig, and for the 256 gig it is £1,349. Now I know a lot of you are going to jump down into the comment section, you're going to go absolutely ballistic, have a field day with the pricing. You know what, guys, I'm not going to try and defend the price and anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's what you want. You don't have to go out and buy it. It's what you want. I spent a lot of money on the MacBook Air, and when I did that, a lot of people thought at the time the MacBook Air was rubbish, didn't have enough ports, didn't have an optical drive, all these different things. But for me personally, it was worth the money, and I love it, and I've used it ever since. The 11.6 inch model is obviously a small laptop. It also has this power on immediately feature, just like the iPad does, which is a really cool feature. And this is the way we are moving as a society. We are working longer hours, spending less time with ourselves, and because of the amount of work that we've got to cram into a day, there's not enough hours in the day for us to do our work. We have to be working on the go now. Everybody's working on the go. So therefore, mobile devices such as the 11.6 MacBook Air, the iPad, the iPhone, the BlackBerry, the Android devices, they're all going to become, and maybe not right now, but they're all definitely going to become a part of our working life. And whether you like it or not, they are going to aid our productivity while we're on the move. And that's just a fact of the way things are going. Now, across the board, every single model has 2 gig of RAM. I know, again, a lot of people think that it should be 4 gig, but there's obviously a reason behind that. It's possibly to do with a motherboard. The 11.6 inch models have 2 processor types. The 64 gig flash drive one has 1.4 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo, and the 128 gig has a 1.6 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo processor. They all have a mini display port. They've got 2 USB ports on them as well. A lot of people thought that it was going to have the USB 3, but that wasn't to be. I'm sure there's reasons for that. And that's pretty much it. The units as well are built in the same fashion as the MacBook and the MacBook Pros are, so they've got the unibody finish, so they're going to be stronger than what this model is. I personally think I would love to get my hands on a new MacBook Air 11.6. I think it would be great. A lot of people were saying, you know, when the iPad came out, for those people that were saying that it should have had a full operating system like Snow Leopard on it, well, those people should be really happy about this, because it's only, what, 1.6 inches bigger than the iPad, probably around about not that much heavier or anything like that. So those types of people should really love this MacBook Air 11.6, because that's practically an iPad with a full operating system. That's really about it. Obviously there's a lot more things that I haven't covered in this video, but I can't cover everything in this video. So I've written an article over on TechPlanet30.com. Go across there, you can watch it over there. You can also follow me on Twitter at iHarrison30, or you can send me an email at techplanet30@hotmail.com. Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in and watching, for all your support, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.